Hey everyone, welcome to Armed and Educated, your source for information on guns, gear, and most importantly, the Second Amendment. If this type of content interests you, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. Also turn on those notifications so that you can see my upcoming videos, and feel free to follow me on social media. Now, let's get into it. Hey everybody, today's video I'm going to be sharing you guys some information and some video footage of our annual 2021 Second Amendment March here in Michigan. This is an annual event that happens every single year. This is the 12th year of us doing it. I am actually a first-time goer of this event since I have only recently gotten really involved in the Second Amendment, especially on the ground activism level. But I got the opportunity to go to this event. It was really cool. Met a lot of really cool people. Met a lot of familiar faces of people that I've already met who are really big in the Second Amendment world. Shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. So this is basically an event that happens every single year in Michigan. We go to the state capitol and we rally and we march to basically show our support of the Second Amendment. And usually this is done during the week. And the reason why it is done during the week is, although it is obviously inconvenient and usually probably as the result of a smaller turnout group, we do it during the week because we understand that this is obviously during the week. There are actually people in the state capitol building working. It's not empty like it would be on the weekends. So we go there during the week so that the people working there can actually see the crowd and see the people. I would say, I don't have an exact number. I would say it was definitely a few hundred people that showed up, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't have an exact number to exactly narrow that down. But it was really cool event. We had some really great speakers. I will be showing some video footage of a couple of the speakers who I did happen to get on video and their message. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to get a lot of the video speakers on my camera. You'll also see some video footage of us marching. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and let that roll. So first I'm gonna show you guys the marching, which was really cool. So here it is.
What's up?
Podcast or something?
Huh?
Podcast?
Just videos, Facebook, all that.
Okay, next I'm going to show a couple of the speeches. There's two speeches in particular that I have. I don't have all of the speeches together totally, but I have what I got recorded, and I will be posting that as well for you to see.
On August 29th of 2015, my life and the lives of my family members changed forever. That rainy day, an evil human stranger, hell-bent on getting what he wanted, kicked in the door to my family's home and proceeded to stab my younger sister in the crockpot, and then dragging her upstairs and sexually assaulting her right there in her home, a place most people feel safest. I look back at the day and I still have nightmares. You see, I carried a firearm for 2 years at that point, but that morning when I pulled out of my driveway with my 2 young boys, I didn't have it on me. I stopped in the middle of my street pondering if I should go back, and I was running late to meet up with our family to celebrate my mom's birthday and her grandma's. I thought I wouldn't need it. I did not know that while I drove past the very street of my family's home, telling my 2 young sons to wave to their grandma's water tower, the boys watching. She survived that day, but how many thousands of defenseless people do not? We grew up around firearms, and they were always viewed as helpful tools. 2 weeks prior to her attack, I sat down on the very steps that that monster dragged her up to discuss getting her employed for concealed carry and going to gun shopping. The unconstitutional barriers in my state of Illinois are that you must have 2 government permission cards, one to own a firearm and another to be able to carry outside the home, along with a 16-hour firearm course and qualify with that firearm at various links from the target at the range. The required fees associated with exercising the right on top of paying for that qualifying course are cumbersome to numerous people, leaving many people praying that they won't need a firearm. I can't change what happened to my sister, but I can help women be prepared to protect if they ever do find themselves in a future life-threatening situation. Many of you have the tools and means to help others. I encourage you to do so sooner rather than later. You do not get to pick the time or place of an attack, and it can happen in the safety of your own home. Many people are left defenseless and vulnerable because of politicians and the rich and elite with their armed bodyguards believe that they know what is best for you. I tell them, until you have cleaned your own siblings' stab wounds dealt by the hand of a monster, understand that police cannot save you even when they're under a minute from your own family's home, and they can actually define competently and understand how a firearm works. Shut up! You do not have a right to lecture me or millions of other women and men on how we are to defend ourselves. These people are not for women's safety or anyone's safety for that matter, and they prefer you dying on the phone and waiting for police instead of you having a fighting chance and encouraging you to defend yourself. Shannon Watts herself, famed leader of Moms Demand Action and the one who believes she speaks for all women, did not even pursue charges of her own daughter's rapist and left him free to roam, and to do so again. All that while claiming to care about others' safety, especially women. She does not speak for me or the millions of women like me. It is imperative that you stand up for your 2A rights and to get involved with not only your state legislators, but those at the federal level as well. Share with them the stories of self-defense and personal survival, and continue to remind them of their oath to uphold the Constitution and keep them accountable. I know the police side of things is touchy in the 2A world, and believe me, I know quite well the delicate balance of freedom and the police-state actions that lead many people to despise them. Get to know your local police and sheriff's departments and keep them in check, and remind them of their constitutional oath as well. The rule of law is important in our society, otherwise we're back in a democracy, which doesn't work out well for anyone. It makes it that much more important to go back to your legislators and call out the tyrannical laws that pit responsible citizens versus police. Spend the time in legislators' offices and departments and keep calling for change. Hold corrupt police accountable and encourage the good ones. The amount of police departments on my sister's case from both Illinois and Indiana, and the time they put in to catch her would-be murderer was intense. They're a needed entity doing jobs such as hunting down monsters like my sister's attacker, giving families like mine justice. I'm not a professional or competitive shooter, firearms instructor, a manufacturer of anything firearms related, nor am I a military, politician, or part of the rich and elite. I am, however, a very proud American mom with a voice who has seen what an evil monster can inflict upon another person. I understand the ultimate price that men and women have paid to keep me free, and I will continue to help keep the government accountable and teach my own boys to do the same. For the countless men and women who have died to protect your rights, stand up and defend those rights. For the countless people who are denied the chance to defend themselves and no longer have a voice due to the evil of governmental tyranny under the guise of safety, stand up for them. The absolute least that you can do as a citizen of this great country is to make sure your voice is heard no matter who you are. You are important. That is your right, your responsibility, and the charge given to you from the Founding Fathers. That is you helping to keep your republic.
So that first video was of a woman named Mary and her story. She's from, I believe it was Illinois. She's a really cool woman. Her story is, obviously, as you heard, of her sister was brutally attacked, and basically her message is just the example of why women should in fact be armed with it, which is also a message that I've heavily pushed on this channel and on my social media. Because women are in fact a larger target in general for violent type of crimes. They are usually a higher target than men. So this is a very good reason why I do genuinely believe that women especially should be focused on exercising their Second Amendment right to be able to protect themselves. And then obviously at the end of the video she calls out Moms Demand Action, which was awesome, and their hypocrisy and how they're not really for people's safety. They actually just want people to be victims. So the second video is what we're going to go ahead and roll now.
Same message that we send to our politicians: you will not be issued a free pass. You will not be blindly supported, and we will back the blue when the blue backs us. I'm not saying this as someone who thinks that he's got all the answers. I've only been in the industry for 5 years. Before that, I was just like most of you here. I had my CPL, I had zero training, I carried my Walther PPS in a ridiculous holster, and I thought that I was going to turn into John Wick at the Costco on Sunday when ISIS came through, right? But it wasn't probably going to go that way because I was very ignorant of my own abilities and skills. I was a societal liability more than I was a societal asset. I was the guy buying $400 lower receivers and crates full of Magpul mags. But thankfully, I did some learning, I got trained, and I figured out what we really need to do in order to build a community that shares the same values. And do you know how I know all this can work? Because it worked for marijuana. Like it or not, you have to give those guys credit. All the hippies and pot smokers that the conservatives have criticized for decades, they got their shit together and they got it done, right? That's why it's legal here in Michigan and in many other states across the country. They got it done by taking risk, right? A lot of them went to jail. Put everything that they had on the line because they believed in something. It might not be what you believe in, but guess what? They accomplished what we have not, largely. And good for them. They did the work, they took the risk, and they got what they wanted. And whether you personally agree with it or not, we are freer men and women in this country as a result of their actions. I'd really like to do the same. And I think we can do it. So what's the roadmap? How do we get this done? First, we need to donate to organizations that are actually listening to us, okay? The gun industry has changed quite a lot, and the people who we think are supporting us have not, right? I'm a member of the NRA. I assume many people here are as well. But gun ownership is not so much about orange vests and duck hunting anymore. It's about AR-15s and John Wick, plate carriers, Call of Duty, competition shooting, training, all of these things, right? And we need the people who are supposed to represent our interests to be thinking the same way that we do and supporting the same repealing of infringements that we are demanding. So there are other options that I hope you guys consider looking at. Firearms Policy Coalition, Gun Owners of America, right? These guys understand. And right here in our state, we need to spend money supporting our own state organizations over large national and federal organizations that may not have an eye on the ball of what's going on here in Michigan, right? Michigan Open Carry, Michigan Gun Owners, Michigan Coalition for Responsible Gun Ownership. All of these guys are doing great work. We need to support them first and then look to things at the national level. Second, guys, you got to join an outdoor range, right? These outdoor ranges have been around in some cases for 100 years. There's a lot of things you can do at an outdoor range that you just can't do at an indoor range, right? Drawing from the holster, running with a gun in your hand, changing magazines while you're on the move, failure to stop drills from 3 feet away. Can't do that at an indoor range. I like indoor ranges, but outdoor ranges are really where you test and learn your skills. And the problem is, when these outdoor ranges get shut down, we will never have them again. Most of them are in areas that are now surrounded by housing developments. They get too many complaints. They get some homeowners association that wants to sell their property to some developer. They get enough complaints and they're gone. They need members and they need your money. They need you to be members. Most of them are cheap. They're $150 a year. Find one that's close to you and join it. Third thing you need to do, take a training class, preferably at one of these outdoor ranges. I thought I was the best shooter ever, right? Most guys think that they can drive, shoot, run the grill, right? All those things until you find out you can't. I went to a 3-gun competition and I got embarrassed the first time I went. That's what got me into shooting competitively. That's what got me into training. That's where I really learned that shooting is a learned skill, right? We're not born with it. You have to understand how things work under pressure. You have to build these fundamental skills. And here in Michigan, we're thankful to have some of the best training companies in the country. MDFI, Sentinel Concepts, Marksmanship Training Center. Great companies, great places to be in. And I certainly think it's not a position that any of you want to be in. What that does is it builds the community, right? It'll build your relationship. It's something that you can teach to your kids. We have to be thinking as much about the next generation of gun owners as we are about our current generation of gun owners. So, that's about it, really.
So in that video, I didn't catch that guy's name. I know that I believe he is the owner of what's called Phoenix Ammunition. He had a lot of really cool stuff to say in his video as well that I really support. Obviously, he focused on, the importance of back the police when they back you, don't back them unconditionally, which is something that I do believe. I believe that there are a lot of good cops out there that do believe in our rights and believe in the Constitution, but I also understand that there are some that will step on your rights if they're asked to. So you have to keep that in mind. He also focused on the whole aspect of marijuana and how, whether you agree with it or not, it is something that has been used. There are many people who do believe in the legalization of it, and they have fought to get it legalized, and it's been successful in a lot of states, which just kind of shows the power of people coming together and their ability to get things done when they want it to get done. And then lastly, he talks about, focusing on future generations and just general being more educated and being more well-trained with firearms. A lot of really good messages in his speech as well. So I really appreciated listening to all these speakers. I liked hearing them. They had a lot of really good stuff to say. Lastly, what I want to mention, what I want to emphasize on lastly in this video to you guys is, if you are watching this, I really, really highly recommend that you guys start getting involved if you're not already. If you are watching this and you're not somebody who has been super involved in the activism level, please do. Like he also mentioned in his video where he talked about the organizations, there are a lot of people who are members of the NRA, but unfortunately the NRA hasn't really been totally living up to expectations lately, and they don't represent all gun owners in reality. When it comes to what they focus on and what they're after, a lot of times they're more focused on the rights of hunters and stuff, and as we know, that is not a large majority of the gun community anymore. A lot of the gun community are filled with people who are more on tactical minded, self-defense minded, AR-15s and things like this. And these are honestly things where the NRA has been majorly slacking in. And, there are a lot of other organizations out there that are way more on top of these issues and jumping on these issues and being on them, like the Gun Owners of America, Firearms Policy Coalition, Second Amendment Foundation. And then, as he mentioned in his video, be really diligent on supporting your state level Second Amendment groups, because in a lot of cases, like he said, sometimes those are better. Sometimes it's better to support your state Second Amendment groups because they actually know what's going on in your state. They know the bills that are being passed, and they're going to help keep your state gun friendly and gun strong. So those are really good messages. And again, like I said, it's really important for you to get involved as well. Obviously, donate to any organizations that you can afford to donate to that do fight for your rights on their behalf. But also, you need to get involved as well. Whether that's finding out where Second Amendment events are happening, like the one that we had, and doing what you need to do to show up there. Whatever it is that you got to do to get yourself out there, if you need to, start posting online, start creating content, support organizations that support your Second Amendment rights. Just because somebody is a gun owner doesn't necessarily mean that they actually support the Second Amendment. You need to focus on that, and we need to focus on that together, because as a community we have to come together and we have to come strong, and we have to do what other organizations have already done, because we see a lot of organizations out there that have a lot of different specific ideologies that they support and they back, and they've actually managed to make change through their movements, through protests, through all of these different strategies and all these different moves. They've made changes and they've made real differences in state and federal level. And that's exactly what we need to start doing with the Second Amendment, or else we are going to lose it. So please do whatever you can to be active and be involved. And if you live in Michigan and you want to know what I do and what I pay attention to and how I try to be involved, feel free to reach out, and I will try to give you any information that I have on organizations and events happening. But really try to find a way to stay in tune with this kind of stuff and just do it. During the Revolutionary War, there were talked about men who were called summer soldiers, which basically meant that they only were there, they only fought when it was convenient for them, when it was in good conditions, and when things actually started getting hard and things actually started getting rough, a lot of them would dip. A lot of them would skip out. And that's kind of what I think that we see happening today. We see a lot of people who, when it's convenient, they get involved and they fight back and they do what they feel like they need to do. But in other times when it's not convenient, they don't. They don't get involved. They don't do anything. They just wait around for somebody else to do it for them. And that's not what's going to help protect our rights, and that's not what's going to keep us a Second Amendment strong country. So you need to get involved. You need to take charge. You need to take the initiative, and you need to do what you can to stand up for the Second Amendment. This is what we all need to do together if we're going to keep it protected and keep it safe. So that's all I have for now, and until next time.